Welcome to CRE Power Hour. My name is Lisa Marie Wand and my amazing co-host Stephanie Gillison. We have spent the last 2 decades growing and scaling our businesses, and together we are bringing a new space for you to learn alongside the best in the real estate business at CRE Power Hour. Today, our guest is Heather Konopka, and we are so excited to have her on the show. We do have a live audience joining us, so please drop your name and where you're from in the chat. And we welcome questions at CRE Power Hour. You can put those in the chat and we'll answer those. And let's get right to it. Stephanie, you're going to introduce Heather today.
Well, you did an amazing job. We were both a little bit fearful of Konopka, but that's an easy thing to say.
We did it.
So, as I've been in this business, Lisa and Marie and I both for a very long time, I get so excited when I meet other women like us because we're so driven, we're so motivated. We don't, even though there's a man showing up on the screen because Diana Gray hasn't changed that photo, and we love men, that happens to be my husband. It's just nice. It's a breath of fresh air when you can actually sit at a table, have a great conversation and speak to another female powerhouse in commercial real estate. So Heather and I met at Globe Street, the conference just back in July, where we were both women of influence. And so Heather, I want you to tell everybody your background. Just like as we sat down and introduced ourselves to one another, I was just like, wow, I'm in love.
Yeah, I think the way the love story went was Stephanie had her talk and it was amazing. It was so inspirational. And I was so excited that later that evening, I believe it was after the awards, because I didn't get a chance to speak with you during the day, but it was after the awards ceremony. You're out there and I basically tackled her, go running at her like, oh my gosh, I thought I had all this energy and I was so upbeat, but here you are and you were just on fire on stage. And I love that. And she was like, I think we should meet, we should talk. And I'm like, yeah, definitely. So we had lunch the following day out on the patio. It was really great. We've had a few phone calls and, I love it likewise when I meet other women in the business of commercial real estate, because as we all know, it's a very, male dominant industry. And to bring something to the table, to get a seat at the table and to stay at the table is really quite the honor, and surrounding ourselves with other women is what I love to do.
Yeah, tell us about your background. How did you, Heather, get into commercial real estate?
So it's a great story. I've been in real estate 27 years, and I did start in the residential side in a little boutique shop in Colleyville, Texas. And, it was mid-20s, early 20s, and, was a flight attendant at the time, really had no fear and did very well in my first 3 to 4 years, where I had my other income. I'm, what I thought making bank at the time. And I go in and tell my office manager, Jim Ingstrom, that, hey, I want to sell commercial real estate. And by the way, I'm going to start buying apartments. And he was like, okay, if anybody can do it, Heather, it's probably you, but you should look into getting your CCIM designation. So we actually had computers back then. So I quickly go to my computer and I look up, what's CCIM? And so I thought, oh, this is great. It's education, it's knowledge, it's, learning that. And so I started right away on my designation. I was pinned in 2005. I made the switch from the small boutique residential office I was at to a Keller Williams office, I believe in 2002. And I worked with collaborated, I would say, with Joe Williams of the Gary Keller, Joe Williams, Keller Williams platform.
You know him.
Because Joe did commercial real estate, that's his background. And I was really passionate about spearheading this and making it happen and kind of bringing it into the office. So, we had meetings. I also served on their ALC, and it was really, truly amazing. So I think somebody hopped on and we can hear them. Sorry. So anyway, it was just a great path, but I went to do a deal that was around $7 million, and the seller calls me, and I brought the buyer to the deal, and he was like, you're with a residential company, you don't know what you're doing. I'm sorry. Thank you, but no, thank you. Well, we spent 20 minutes on the phone, and after that, he signed the deal and we got it closed. So that was my aha moment of I needed to affiliate myself with a commercial predominant, commercial only firm. So I opened a Sperry Venice franchise. So back in the day, there was Mark Venice and Rand Sperry, phenomenal human beings that came from the world of M&M or Marcus and Millichap back in the 80s, and they started their Sperry Venice shop. So I had that from 05 till about 2013 and did well, had some great years, rode out the storm, the 2008-9 crash, so to speak. It was a very interesting time. And then I went from there, went to M&M. 13 and 14, I was at Marcus and Millichap, and then I was just doing my own shop for a while. And then the Century 21 commercial office that I'm in approached me to help them grow their platform. For about 6-7 months, I really was, no, thank you. No, thank you. I've been there. I've been with a residential company. I wish you guys the best. But as I sat down and really listened to them, got to know them more, and they really rolled out the red carpet. And I thought, this is an opportunity that's presenting itself. I'm going to take it. And so we took the office from 151 in the nation to number 4, and have been number 1 or 2, or definitely in the top 10 in the last 5 years. So it's been a good run. It's been a great place to be. And, I love the opportunities that come at me daily, and, just truly blessed and very thankful, and surround myself hopefully with a great team, and, that are there for me and for us and for our team and for the growth.
I love your style, Heather. You're definitely our people. I can tell just from listening to you. So I can totally see you as a flight attendant. You said that that's what you did for a few years, right?
Yeah.
And that because you're beautiful and personable and smart, and then you went ahead and got your CCIM designation early on in the game, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
did.
that takes a certain type of person to do that, because most people don't. I know people that have been in the business 15 years, 20 years or more, and then they finally, some of them choose to get their CCIM. So this word badassery that we were using earlier,
which we can use. I told her ahead of time. She goes, "Can I say this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, this is an adult show."
If you don't, you're in trouble. So I opened the door on the badassery term. So I really like your style. And Stephanie and I talk a lot about how we need more women, not just women, and women powerhouses in commercial real estate. So talk to us about, your experience with being a powerful woman in commercial real estate.
Gosh, thank you so much, Lisa Marie. Great question. I think getting my CCIM designation was it the real game changer? Honestly, the designation, the pin is great, but it really is the knowledge. It really is understanding the deal. So while it might have gotten me to the table, once I was there, I was really able to, keep my seat, so to speak, earn, in essence, the respect of the colleagues or the owners or the property developers or whatever deal I'm working on. And they're like, "Oh, it's really cool. She knows her stuff." There's that badassery, right? But it's really, I love what I do. I get up every day. I think a lot of people, when you think about being 100% commission for 27 years, it's a little like, maybe like, heart palpitations and things, but I love it. I love what I do. And I think, that really comes across. I'm very tenacious. I'm in the problem solving business. And, what some people might, fall apart when something happens, it's really the opportunity to show my value. It's the opportunity to really let them see how we can get through this and find the solution to whatever that challenge or that, what they might see as a problem. It's not really a problem, but truly an opportunity.
And you said that you took your office from like 151 into like the top echelon. How are you able to do that?
Well, a lot of it was my production. So that was a little bit, so 2017, I wasn't here in the office, 2018 I was. And that helped. So just through the years and working on land. So we're doing a lot of land development, and those take time. Those, you're not going to get a quick paycheck. And I've worked on some deals 4 and 5 years, and when they pay off, they pay off, and the fruit is there. It's beautiful, but it's also a lot of work along the way. So it's not just a quick, easy slam dunk. If I make it look easy, I think that's where Tiger Woods makes golfing look easy, and so it's just where a professional truly comes in, but it's not easy. It's not easy at all. So
did you carry the production for part of that time, and then did you impart all the knowledge and experience you have to the other agents?
That's a great question. So I'd love to, if everybody could be sponges and really soak it all in. I've built my team within the office as far as the other commercial practitioners. There's some that I've mentored. Hopefully they've learned along the way, but I think we're all kind of in our own deal and doing our own things, with the exception of my team. So I really try to embrace my team and teach them, and I love to see them grow and expand and reach their goals. So
amazing.
So and I have realized that we're both servant hearts, that we love to help other people be successful. And I know she wants to talk about this. So I'm so happy to see that there's other people out there like that, especially in an industry where so much happens behind closed doors. There's not a lot of sharing. It's sort of like dive in with the sharks, and if you don't get eaten, then you live to see another day. So
right.
Stephanie, I know you want to talk about this.
Well, and I love that Heather brought up, look, this business is about problem solving, but to have to see the opportunity, right? To solve that problem, to see the opportunity. Let's be successful. Let's get to the winner's circle, so to speak, but also resilience, which is what I spoke about a lot at Globe Street. We do get knocked down in this industry. Yeah. And I'm not going to sit here and everybody knows me by now. I never am the girly girl. I'm not. Yeah. But everybody in this industry, we get knocked down, whether you're a gal or a guy.
Yeah.
But you just got to have the resilience. And, a lot of times I think, part of that, having the resilience, is so that you can see that opportunity, because every time you hit, think about it. You're in land, I'm in land. I love land development. There are so many more obstacles to overcome, because, you've got the land, you got to decide what's the highest and best use for the land, then you've got to build relationships with municipalities. Then, there's just on and on and on and on. Someone reached out to me this morning, and they texted me, and they said, do you ever coach or teach land development? And I said, I don't. And it's not because I wouldn't want to. It's just, you would literally have to stand beside me hours upon hours, and days and months, and even up to a couple of years, right, Heather? It's not tomorrow.
It's the staying power that you've got to really have. And it's the communication relationship with the landowner. It's like you said, the municipalities are key. Landowners think they really own the land, but at the end of the day, it's what the city wants. It's what the city's big picture is. And, it is putting all of those pieces. It's like fine tuning a puzzle, or the intricacies of a watch, and all those different little measures have to all go in there to fit like so perfectly, and then all work collectively together to achieve that goal, and that common goal. So it's not an easy industry. I've done a lot of multifamily deals through the years, and multifamily, I think when COVID came around, it was I think a lot of owners really had hold their breath, not sure what's going to happen, who's going to pay rent, how's my income, what's the return going to be to my investors. So there was that mentality. And now I think the multifamily sector is dealing with, okay, we might have our loan coming due. We had a great, 2.5% interest rate. We might have had some IO on the front end, and now we're about to have to refinance. Oh, this deal's not going to pencil as much as I thought it would. So there's really a lot of, there's so much to this business. One of my team members who's really knocking it out of the park is focusing on medical office. And, that's a very huge industry right now where a lot of investors see that opportunity with a section of the, commercial real estate world that has, that resilience to withstand whatever, and, the COVID or the recessions or whatever. So it's just an interesting time. I don't get down. I do pick myself up every day and keep going on. And again, every day is a new opportunity.
That's great.
Yeah.
Medical is awesome too, because so I have investors that love to buy triple net investment medical offices. Medical users tend to stay for long periods of time, and they pay their bills. And with the baby boomer aging huge group of our population, it's an even better growing asset class of commercial real estate. And it's interesting about land. So I've been teaching for about the last year commercial real estate to agents all over the US. And one of the segments we teach is land development, which is one of my favorite areas, like Stephanie.
Yeah.
And it is so complicated because they don't realize you've got the horizontal portion of the process before you get to the vertical, and all the different steps that with planning and zoning and Department of Transportation and all the things that can happen. And that's what I love about it, the fact that it's exciting. And do you feel like the relationships that you have with the jurisdictions in your area help you be more successful?
I do, absolutely. And, I think there's something, I think anytime you can develop a relationship and value that relationship, it only will be, a arrow in your quiver, so to speak. It's, whether it's at the local cities or, whatever, but they've got someone they can call on who knows the market, who has their finger on the pulse, and they can, quickly, evaluate something or help guide an owner through something. So yeah, definitely those relationships are huge. And you got to be careful not to, burn that bridge, so to speak.
Absolutely. Well, then that's the truth of it. I always take it from the perspective of whether I'm listing it or whether I'm the developer, because I do both, obviously. But only around my local area will I be the developer. Everywhere else will represent the land. But the very first thing I do, and we were up in Rhode Island not too long ago, we listed some large residential and commercially zoned property in a pretty cool area. And I said, the first thing with my team members, I said, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go visit town hall. I need to know them. And that's exactly what we did. We walked into town hall. We started asking questions. We started getting excited. I said, do you have a town planner? We wanted to meet with the town planner. We've had multiple Zoom calls since, because I want them to be on board and cheerlead this project. Whatever I decide to do with it, I want them to cheerlead it, because I have found if you ask their opinion and say, well, we'd love to do that. However, that and I always bring it back to, this is the classic one. And someone asked me this earlier today, and I said, here's the classic one. Well, if a town wants it to be a park, and of course, no one's going to spend $20 million just to put in a park because there's no money for them to be, to make. How do you bring it up? And I said, listen, it's 40 million. We're going to put this many condos or this many apartments or this hotel or that, and let's do your tax calculations. Get them excited about the income they're going to make based on what the developer's going to do.
Exactly.
And it's in this tone, and it's exciting. And they're like, yes, show us the money. And boom, we're all happy and having hug time,
And then that developer can allocate or designate a section for a park. It's kind of that making a win-win. So
you want conservation space? Absolutely. How much? We need 2 acres. Well, you know what? We're going to give you 3 because we find you special.
We'll put a water feature. We'll fence it, and
it's genius. I love it. And that's why I love land development, because it's almost like, I've always had this artistic side of me, and it's almost like having a canvas and painting the full masterpiece.
You're absolutely right.
Ta-da!
I know. And then putting all the people together. I had an opportunity come to me last week that's a small section of land in it's in Dallas on a major thoroughfare. The city would love to see, a 30-story high rise. There's currently a 6-story vacant office building,
Wow.
120,000 square foot office building with a parking garage that, you could probably, that's where you could take that down and go vertical up 30 stories. It's a huge opportunity, would have amazing views of Dallas, to the north and to the south. And it's just a beautiful opportunity, but it's putting the pieces together, building the vision, and then sharing it and bringing the developers to the table that, the seller's happy with, the city's happy with, something gets done with this, and, there's opportunity in it. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what have you learned? We just went through this, pandemic nightmare for a couple of years. What did you learn out of that whole scenario that affected all of us?
Honestly, that we can get business done no matter where we are, no matter, this platform has really opened up. And, while I love shaking hands and meeting people and having conversations face to face, I did a lot of Zoom. I did I had a lot of calls, and, I stayed on the phone when I think one thing that happened in COVID, we all had such uncertainty, and we were all not nearly as busy. Our lives, maybe came to a halt, but people wanted to have engagement. They wanted to be on the phone. They wanted to Zoom. They wanted to connect. And so I found that was a great opportunity to stay in touch with clients. I still had a great year. And, it was just, you can really work from anywhere. And you can stay connected. So,
it's so true. And I think, what COVID did for us is, we've always worked virtually with EXP, but even getting our clients to the level of working virtually, it was funny because yesterday we've had like, I don't know, 9 or 10 Zooms with this gentleman, and he calls me on the phone. He's like, "I'd like to meet you in person." I'm like, okay, this is like rare. Like, it's so weird. I'm like, really? Okay, sure. You want to come to my office? Okay, sure. It's just weird, right? And so I'm going to have an in-person client meeting tomorrow, but that just hasn't happened.
Yeah.
Our clients are all over the country and all over multiple countries, but it hadn't happened in a very long time. So
time to dust off the office, right?
Yeah, I'm like, God, does this place smell? I'm like, does this place smell dusty or what?
Yeah, that's great.
Tell us about what your biggest passion is right now.
Oh, wow. That's a great one.
And that could be, it's open, could be personal, professional.
Well, really, so it's a couple folds. Growing my team has really been a focus of the last year and a half. I have an amazing coach, or with a coaching program. My past coach actually wound up joining my office after a year of coaching me. I'm not sure how that really happened, but I'm happy he's here. He's a phenomenal human being, and specializes in RV parks, mobile home parks. And it's just, he's all over the US, and he's just really going to do amazing. So through my coaching and just building my team and growing and being there for them and mentoring them, I've also been asked to be part of, it's called Project Destin, and it's a mentorship program with students who are in universities. We just finished a summer internship, and it was all virtual. The kids in this one, I say kids because they're 20s, maybe 30s. So, but it was really awesome. It required a little bit of my time, but to see them progress, to see them grow, and get comfortable, like. The first meeting introductions, everyone's very shy. No one wants to talk. And, just to see them progress was beautiful. And I've been asked to come back for the fall semester. And that's really exciting. And I have another opportunity to teach, I think, at a greater level. I'm going to have a live audition in Chicago in October, and I'm excited to be part of that. So I'm going to keep that one.
Wait, time out. Live audition.
Kind of live audition.
Is this like Commercials Got Talent or something that we don't know about?
Maybe
if that exists, Lisa Marie and I deserve our little spot too. Wait,
What is that?
Wait, commercials got talent.
That's a great one. The Powerhouse Commercials Got Talent. Let's
We're
go.
doing it. We're doing it.
I love it. So
All right,
you know,
audition. What kind of audition?
To be an instructor.
To be an instructor. Okay. So,
So-
you're going to audition on a stage to be an instructor.
Right. Yeah.
That's awesome. I would be fired in 5 seconds.
Yeah. No, you wouldn't. No, you do great. So I just think, you know, getting to this point in life where, you know, there's a younger generation, you want them to learn, you want them to have, you want to be able to share your experiences and see their, you know,
Yeah.
trajectory. And I'm excited about that. So
I love it. I love it. That, you know, that's always, you know, Lisa Marie's been a coach. She's been a internally instructor of the year at EXP. Out of all people that taught, she won instructor of the year, voted on by the agents, by the peers.
yeah.
You know, and I've done my fair share of teaching and mentoring. And no, you're right. It's a huge, huge passion. You know, if anybody would have believed us, each of us, all three of us, the day
Yeah.
we were crazy and said, we're doing this. And then they looked at us kind of like we were cross-eyed and antennas coming out of our head, right? But we still made it because we're
Here we are.
relentless. We're relentless and resilient.
Yeah.
It's the badassery coming through.
The badassery.
The thing that I love most about teaching and coaching.
Change our name to Badassery Hour, just so you know.
Oh, there, CRE Badassery Hour. I love it.
I love it.
And I believe that the three of us ladies have this in common. And the best way to impart knowledge is through sharing your experience and through telling stories. And so having had the opportunity to teach at EXP Commercial, you know, we had all of our curriculum. The best thing where people got the most value was from our experience. So there's something to be said for just the level of experience that we have on this panel today, and that the people coming up in this business really need that. They're, like you said, they're sponges. They're the SpongeBobs of commercial real estate. They need to soak up all we have to offer. And I love the fact that we're the ones that want to share it, because not everyone does. Because, you know, what's the question you hear the most? What I hear from new or newer agents is, what do I do next?
Yeah.
They, you know, you don't learn that in real estate school or, you know, when you're starting out. So that's great. Good for you.
Yeah.
Heather, looking at, you know, what the state of the economy and everything is, what are some of the things that you're doing? And I'm not asking you to give away all your good secrets so I can run out and go do them, but what are you doing differently today that you weren't really thinking about 2 years ago necessarily?
Well, great question. And I think, you know, that's having real conversations with your owners and sellers that, you know, you've got property out there, you've got it on the market, you've been there a while. Let's evaluate where we're at, what's really happening, and then helping them get realistic or have, you know, realistic expectations and in price reduction. I mean, we're seeing some price reduction. We're seeing some, let's look at it from a different lens. And then getting to their true motivation, you know, I mean, do you take deals that the seller's like, oh yeah, I get this, sure, I'll sell. And then if they got, you know, 200,000 or $1 million less, they're probably not sellers. So it's just really having those real conversations and, you know, helping people get their head around, to think about the cost of capital, you know, 3.5%, 4%, 2.5% back in the, you know, a few years ago, like crazy. I do watch the 10-year every day. I watch it multiple times a day. Not everything is based off of the 10-year, but it is a good gauge to what things will be trading off of. But it's being realistic with your owners and sellers. And if you've got a buyer and you're wanting to try to get a 6.5 cap, that buyer is going to come in and buy your, you know, multi-tenant, well, it might be a medical office. They might be paying a 7% interest rate now, depending on where they're getting their debt. So we've really just got to have those conversations to get that balance, because, you know, when you think about the cost of funds or the cost of capital, it's still relatively inexpensive. You know, whether it's at 3, 4, 5, 6%, you guys, it's not bad. 7%. You think about having a long-term debt, you know, whether it's 10, 15, 20, you know, only multifamily can go out 30, but it's still relatively inexpensive cost of funds, and it increases your, purchasing power, your ability to purchase more. So, it's really just having those real conversations with owners. I can't say I'm really doing anything different, except for we're seeing price reductions.
Yeah.
And those conversations are, I have a lot of those conversations now too, about the compressed cap rates and what's happening that with, borrowing money, and how it's relatively still very inexpensive to borrow, and then how we adjust pricing based on these new parameters that kind of came at us so quickly. Yeah. Everybody's had stars in their eyes for so long with these low rates, and just how quickly money was moving and properties were moving. And I consider this to be, like a minor adjustment or a blip on the radar. It just takes a different approach and some creativity, right? And some other conversations that maybe we weren't having before. So those of us that want to continue to be successful in commercial real estate, it's about learning how to have those conversations up front to manage expectations. So I have a question for you, Heather Konopka. See, we did it.
Good job.
Did it. What's the best advice you've ever received on a professional level?
Gosh, wow. Honestly, I think the best advice I've ever received was, I had what Jim Engstrom said: Heather, you could do commercial real estate, go get your CCIM. And that was, probably 1999. So it was a long time ago. And that was really, if I think more recent, yeah, really, that's a good one. But that was the best advice I ever received, and I acted on it. And I'm thankful that I did. And, the knowledge is amazing. So I highly recommend it. It's hard.
Yeah. And I, it's one of those things that it's probably the best thing that you did do back then, because you did it before you really got engulfed in this whole entire career. And those of us that wait, when we've been in this business so long, have every reason in the world not to take the time. Oh, I'm too busy. I'm too busy. So I would say that that's great advice. If I had it to do over again, I would have done that, and SIOR way back when I qualified to do it. Not, so, I mean, yeah, there's always time, but still, it's every excuse in the book of,
Well, I'm one of those people, because I'm taking, I started my CCM journey quite a few years ago, and I'm taking 103 in November along with the negotiating class. So, I got my MBA many years ago, and I always felt like I have that. I don't need my CCIM. But I feel like now I'm going to finish. And so it's never too late. And the level of people that you get to network with at that CCIM level, because there's not very many of you really, if you think about it, in the industry. I just decided I'm gonna go for it, and I'll figure out how I'm gonna fit it in. I'm gonna make it happen.
You will do it. You can do it. I believe in you. And Stephanie, it's not too late for you either.
I know.
Her brain is so full of knowledge. I don't think she has any more room in there.
What's funny is I know so many CCIMs. I've been to, many of the conferences, like, 4 in the last, year and a half. And I think they all think I am, but obviously they know I'm not. But yeah, I know I need to. So.
Yeah. And what advice would you have for commercial real estate professionals that are looking to grow their business in the next 12 months? What are some specific strategies or tips that you could give to them to help them grow their business?
So I highly recommend getting a coach. I recommend building your foundation, making sure you've got, your policies, your procedures, your team agreements, things like that, things that you think, oh, I'll get to that, or, oh, I'll work on that. But it really is important when you're growing, if you want to grow a team, make sure your foundation is really good and solid. And, everybody, I want to see them grow. I want us to all grow the team, but I also am ready to add more, but you've really got to make sure you've got your foundation.
Mhm. I know in my office, we have a big operations manual and we're constantly updating our SOPs. And this is the stuff that like, I would put that off until the end of the world based on my disc profile because I'm high. Yeah. So I leverage that and I hire people that can do those things for me. And I can just take a look at it and say, yeah, this is good, or no, you need to go back to the drawing board.
Right.
It's so true though, because by the time you're ready to grow, it's too late. You're already behind the curve. If you don't have all those systems, like I'm hiring a new real estate assistant right now, and I already have the system in place. So all I need to do is take my paperwork and I'm ready to go. And I have a system that I know works. So I so agree with you. And I'm so glad you said that, because it's so easy to put it off, like you said. However, in order to 10x yourself or take yourself to your business, or, you know, even if you're a solo agent, you still, it's important to have those processes in place for
Get your
lots of
game
different
plan.
reasons.
Yeah,
really
devise
is.
your game plan,
Yes.
set your goals. And
Set
you know,
your goals.
people always look at me and they're like, what is our goal? You know, our team especially, we'll sit around, we'll be on a Google Meet, we'll be whatever doing our team meeting because we're scattered throughout the United States. And they'll say, what are our goals? We're going to do 3 billion in sales. And they're like, what?
Yeah.
No, that's what we're going to do, because you know, we can't just keep sitting or setting the same thing, right? We're in growth mode. And how do we do it? And then we devise how we're going to get there every step of the way to do that. But you're right. I'm not that person either. I'm that big picture. I know where I want to go, but I've hired the right people and I've teamed with the right people that you look at a circle and we have filled in the entire pie, right? And that's the truth too, because you know, for a long time as a one-woman show, which it's been a very long time since I've been a one-woman show, that's how burnout happens, right? You're better off partnering with people that can bring the best out in you and bring a great vibe to the table so that you can make it successful. So that's another thing, that don't be fearful to reach out and partner with somebody who can bring benefit to you and bring out the best in you.
Well, you can only have so much badassery, Stephanie, when it's just you.
I know. Mine's off the charts.
The people around you, it's like it multiplies that level of badass. And, you know, all of these things we were talking about are the foundation, so that when you get a new listing or you decide to venture into a new territory or geography, you've already got the systems in place for your marketing, for your operations, for how you're going to handle the listing and get the paperwork done and all that stuff, so that when these clients come to you, you can just go for it. You know, that's what makes the system so magical, is that they are repeatable and executable over and over. And then as you go through the process, you find something that works even better. You update your SOP, standard operating procedure, or your operations manual, and then you can
or your game plan.
Right.
Well, you don't like anything to do with the operations part, so we could call it a game plan. It's the same thing.
Hey, I operated for a long time, right? So now I'm on the different. I got a great director of operations, Diana Gray. She's amazing.
I love it.
Yeah, she's our producer for the show too. So yeah, she's awesome. And it is important to leverage, because I find agents that attempt to do all of it, we only have so much bandwidth. And then what's happening is they spend all this time doing something they're not good at, like maybe creating a landing page or putting marketing materials together. And then they're cutting into that time of making phone calls or networking or developing those connections that make commercial real estate move.
Yeah. Love it.
Heather, when you're not driven and focused on building this amazing real estate business you have and continuing to grow it, what do you like to do?
So I live on a lake, and I have a boat dock that I love to sit on and watch the sunset as often as I can. Love sunsets. They're kind of like snowflakes. There's no two the same. They're so beautiful. It really just, can take my breath away, and it really helps me get up every day and do what I do. I enjoy spending time. I've got adult daughters and, I enjoy spending time with them. I have an amazing husband, and when we have time, I love spending time with him, and I enjoy a really good glass of wine.
Ooh, I like that. Cheers.
We do too. We do too.
Did you want to promote this program that you've been working on? Can you tell us about that, or we can drop a URL in the chat for everybody, this virtual program that you've been working on that you talked about, the Destin? Yeah.
Can you?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Oh, what program?
No, we're talking to our guest next week on the podcast.
You said that you were part of this.
There's badassery and assery.
Right. Okay. So the Project Destin, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be happy to share a link. I'll send that. I can't do it right here and now, but
Okay.
I'll certainly
We'll circulate it out to our people.
Yeah, it's really been cool. I'm excited about it. So yeah.
And we're sending you really good vibes for your audition. And I mean, I think Stephanie and I will not pass up an opportunity to audition for just about anything. And we are talking about getting our commercial real estate band together at some point.
Oh, I'm in. Yeah. And our commercial real estate, what do we call it? The
badass.
the badassery commercial real estate, like The Voice or
Oh yeah. Our talent show.
Commercials Got Talent. Commercials Got Talent. Commercials Got Talent. Yeah.
Fun fact, I drove my at the time, so my daughter that's 24, she was probably 10 or 11, drove her down to Houston, and she auditioned for America's Got Talent, and it was really, and she sings so beautifully. Her mother thought she had the most talent in the world, but so
did she make it on the show?
She didn't.
But it was a great experience, right? I'm sure.
It really was. It was a great experience. It was a lot of people. And, I think what they really choose is, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So not such a bad thing.
The drama of it all. Yeah. Heather, it's been so wonderful having you on the show today. Thank you so much for all the value that you've added. And I'm so glad that you two met at Globe Street and that it got you here today. So we appreciate you.
I'm really excited that, I had this opportunity, and Stephanie, it was a pleasure meeting you at the Women of Influence conference, and, along with all the other badass women. And I love this. I love our industry, and let's keep growing it and doing more and helping teach and guide and lead others.
Absolutely. And keep me posted on the upcoming events that you end up going to, just in case I'm there, we can catch up with each other. Okay.
I'd love that. Absolutely.
Awesome.
I'll send you a few I have going.
All right.
Well, great. And thank you so much. Join us for CRE Power Hour every second and fourth Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific. You please like our YouTube channel, CRE Power Hour, and follow our podcast. We do post all of our shows, and we'll see you soon. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye, y'all.
Have a great day.